Welcome to our neighbors, to our village staff, and our community friends. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize some special guests who are with us tonight, starting with our mayor of the Village Council, Mayor Joe Corradino, Council Member Jerry Greenberg, Vice Mayor, newly minted Vice Mayor Ken Fairman, and Council Member Ariel Meyer. And I am Shannon Del Prado, and I have the privilege of sitting on your Village Council as well. We have some former mayors and council members in the House. Former Council Member Jim McDonald, Council Member Doug Kraft, Council Member Bob Ross, and I have it on good authority that Council Member Hokumer is actually going to stop by and visit us tonight, which will be special. I'd also like to welcome our village manager, Yoselin Galliano, our village clerk, our village attorney, Mitch Bierman is with us tonight, and we have so many department heads. I'd like to just acknowledge their presence and thank our staff for being here. We have the Director of Public Works, the Director of Parks and Recreation, our Director of Planning, our Building Official, our Finance Director, our Assistant Manager, our Head of IT, and the Head of Pinecrest Gardens, and we also have our former Head of Pinecrest Gardens with us tonight. From Miami-Dade County, we have Mia Devane. Mia, I know I saw you here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. I'd like to thank our FPL representative, Andy Martinez, for joining us tonight as well. And finally, we have the Vice Mayor of Palmetto Bay with us, Mark Merriweather. There you go. Thank you. Welcome. But most importantly, thank you to our residents and welcome, and we appreciate your being here tonight. Tonight is really about celebrating Pinecrest, the work we've accomplished together, and the foundation that we continue to build in Pinecrest. And there's someone whose steady leadership has been central to this progress, and it is really my privilege to introduce him tonight. Our mayor, Joe Corradino, has been serving our village for 30 years. In 1997, one of his first jobs after moving to Florida was to assist the village in the creation of its first comprehensive plan and our zoning code. He drove every street. He learned everything there was to know about the community that would soon become our home, from our soil on up to our service levels. By 2000, Mayor Corradino was appointed to the planning board in Pinecrest. He was quickly elected the chairman. In 2006, he was elected to the village council, where he served 2 terms. In 2016, he was elected mayor of Pinecrest, and he was re-elected in 2020. Mayor Corradino is our longest serving mayor, and he's also our longest serving elected official. As our mayor, he's always viewed his role as a facilitator. Mayor Corradino assures that on all of our issues, everyone, on all sides, has had the opportunity to weigh in. The debate in Pinecrest is sometimes vigorous, but it's always collegial. And this year we've had some vigor, but always respectful. When I was first elected, Mayor Corradino told me something that has stayed with me ever since. He said, Shannon, in local government, how you do something is just as important as what you do. And he reminds us of that consistently. And I think that philosophy has really shaped his tenure in Pinecrest. He always ensures that once we decide to do something, we move on it together as one team and one community. After 30 years of service to our village, Mayor Corradino carries a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge. He knows about our history, he knows about our values, our expectations, and the way we treat one another in Pinecrest. Mayor, we have been extraordinarily fortunate to have your steady hand and your deep commitment guiding Pinecrest for the past 30 years. Thank you, and please join me in welcoming Joe Corradino.
All right, thank you. Good night. The drinks are also, no, I appreciate that. I should come here more often. It's fun. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. It's hard to believe that we've been doing this for 30 years, and we do it a little bit before Thanksgiving because there's probably no better way to kick off the holiday season than come listen to me do a State of the Village speech. This is our annual opportunity to just talk about where we are, how we got here, and what we're going to do in the future. And in getting here over 30 years, I think we've made pride in ourselves in everything we do each and every day, each and every year is kind of run through a filter of 2 things. The first one is, if we do it, will we preserve our character? And the second thing is, if we do it, will we enhance our quality of life? And the net result is that I feel after all this time, we as a community have done an excellent job at adapting our evolving needs with our core principles in mind. And proof of that is that I think if you looked around, you were here in 1996, and you looked at Pinecrest before, it almost looks nothing like it did in 96. But it still maintains that charm and character that we've strived for. It was charming in 1996, 30 years ago. But let's remember exactly what we inherited. Evelyn Greer Park at the time was a trailer park. This facility, Anna Hokemer is in the room, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this facility wasn't Pinecrest Gardens, it was Parrot Jungle. And Yossi remembers because we worked on it together. There was like no botanic value. It was, the horticulturalists at the time would say, it's just weeds. They were green, so they looked like plants to me. The physical facilities were falling apart, and honestly, the place was all but abandoned. We would do brunches in the room over there, and we'd have like pots under the ceiling because it was leaking and all those types of things. Our schools, while they were top rated, they were physically failing. Our zoning code, before we were a city, could change at any time. Most prevalently after 10 p.m. down at County Hall, altered by people often that had no practical knowledge of our neighborhoods. And believe it or not, it's hard to do today, but there were very few good grocery stores on the east side of US 1. When storms came, the electricity seemed to go out in anticipation of the storm, and once it did, we had no fresh water to drink. Every road needed to be paved. We had few sidewalks, fewer bike paths. We had significantly less tree canopy. We had significantly less parkland. It was programmed not very well. We had zero or near zero police presence, and we were just a neighborhood. And I'm not even sure, the old timers will tell us we had a name. I'm not sure what the name was, but it was what it was. But you know what? People loved the place. And they came here for a reason, because of the character and the quality of life. So once when I was running for office, I was asked, what do you want to do? And the answer was pretty simple. Let's not screw it up, right? The place is beautiful. It's got trees all over the place. The schools are great. The parks were great. And keeping that way was always a priority for our founders. And so you'd think that if we never changed, if we never had another law, it would be too soon. But we soon came to realize that not changing was impractical. You couldn't just sue everybody that brought a development to the city or change, because if you do that, then you're going to change in a way that you don't want to change. So we needed to direct change. And we have the responsibility as a community to shepherd slow, managed growth, evolve in a way that fits the needs of our community. And that's what we do. Each and every year, we address a myriad of issues. And I don't know about you guys, but and I think everybody else can say that 99% of those are mundane, and they may be even boring. However, each and every day, we all get calls and emails asking us to get things done. And so the things that we do in the village of Pinecrest aren't generated out of thin air. They're generated out of our neighborhood concerns, your concerns. And they don't get done overnight. Almost nothing we do gets done quickly, but that's the way government's supposed to work, so it gets done right. Things can take years to happen. And each and every year, we face some things that represent change, some things that are controversial. They represent a crossroads where change is either requested or required. And we should all be very proud that when we face these controversial issues, we've been able to do so as a real community. We've been able to debate them, as we said, vigorously, but collegial, let everybody speak until they've had their say. We're really in no hurry to get these things done. But when it comes time to vote, we vote, and then we move on as a group, as a community. So 30 years later, practicing the type of local government that we do, which is reasonable and rational, which is collegial and accessible, when how you do something is just as important as what you do, we found ourselves in an enviable position. Today, crime is at historic lows. Today, our property values are at historic highs. The beat up and abandoned Parrot Jungle was saved from becoming just more houses, and it's our community centerpiece. It's our cultural arts park. Our streets are lush, green, and canopied. Our electrical undergrounding project is nearly done, and even when the electricity goes out, we get more than one flush of the toilet because the water project is done. Our parks are refurbished and meet the needs of people of all ages. Our schools are top rated and nearly all rejuvenated. Our laws are under our control to be debated amongst ourselves. Our houses of worship feel supported and protected. We actually have great grocery stores on the east side of US 1. Our staff is absolutely the best in the business. And most importantly, today, we're more than a neighborhood. We're a real community with a sense of pride and a sense of place, and that's critical. So as 2025 comes to a close, we continue to celebrate all of the progress that we've made that makes our village one of the best places to live in all of Florida. Of course, safety remains our top priority. Our police have embraced technology and efficiency. Every officer is equipped with a department-issued smartphone linked to a computer-aided dispatch records management system, which improves communications, improves emergency response. I've said this multiple times, but one of the fascinating things, if you were to sit on your porch at your house in '96 and wait for a police car to drive by, you would have literally waited months to see one. If you were to call them, it would have taken hours for them to get there. Today, if you call them, 2 minutes and 33 seconds, and they'll be at your door, literally before you hang up the phone in most cases. Today, crime is about 65% lower, believe it or not, 65% lower than it was during incorporation. We've used technology not only to prevent and deter crime, but to solve it once it happens. Great news for our environment. We've won 2 awards this year. The Florida League of Cities and the International City Counter Managers Association have given us awards for environmental stewardship. Our green initiatives continue to grow. I think our composting program has diverted 150,000 pounds of food waste from the landfills. And put this into a number that I think Pinecresters would understand better, that's about 20 Teslas worth of food waste. Our paint and chemical program, our recycling program enables residents to safely and conveniently dispose of the hazardous waste we all have in our garages. We launched a floating flower beds pilot program. This is reducing pollution in our canals. We're enhancing the beauty of the community, expanding the tree canopy alongside our important corridors, ensuring greener park-like corridors. And this green investment continues in Coral Pine Park and Gary Matzner Park. And just for the record, we have net about more than tens of thousands of trees and canopy in Pinecrest from when we incorporated. And because they're demanding it, we're emphasizing multimodal mobility, as well as bicycle and pedestrian safety. And we're trying to reduce the impacts of cut-through traffic as it comes through a neighborhood, and that's pretty difficult in South Florida. And if you were to take a walk at any time and be out on the streets, what you're going to notice is there's more people on the streets today than there ever was in the past. And that's great for families, and families are moving here, and they're thriving here when they come here. For a second year in a row, we were ranked as one of the best communities to live in. #1 in Miami-Dade County, #2 in the region, statewide, #4 amongst Florida suburbs, and 16 out of 1,100 places to raise a family. I said, 16, what the hell's going on? Well, that's a little low, right? But all right, 16, we'll do better next year. Getting help from the village got easier. Pinecrest launched a new AI-powered service assistant, which now residents can access information or give information to the village online 24/7. And if you want to call for a building inspection, you can do it via text. And this saves time and makes everybody's life a lot easier. Arts and culture continue to flourish, particularly here. We received another award from the Art and Business Council of Miami, celebrating our commitment to inclusivity, and the Banyan Bowl was named the best outdoor event venue by the New Times. So as we've come to expect over 30 years, we continue to lead by example, combining innovation, environmental stewardship, and a commitment to sound local government. But now it's time to look forward, and we have some issues that we need to deal with as we do that. So everybody that's up here as a council member, and we would talk as they ran, they said, what's this job really about? And I would half jokingly say, you gotta forget everything you know, this job is about peacocks and sidewalks. And at first, right, that may seem silly because we have really giant issues that we need to deal with, but it's true. These are the hyper-local issues that concern people in our neighborhoods absolutely the most. I can't tell you how many calls I took on peacocks between 4 and now. It's amazing. These are the first things we see in the morning. These are the last things we see when we get home, and that may never change. And really, we're blessed to have that type of problem, because if you've watched the news and you look at what's happening in the world, in the state of Florida, and the county, and all these places, when the biggest issue that, quote unquote, as somebody said, gets my hair on fire, is where to put a bicycle lane, like, let that sit there for a second, right? That means we're doing a great job as a community, because it's true that most of our complaints come from these types of things. It's true, we have free-range peacocks, and they are more than willing to leave you a little gift on your welcome mat, no problem. And if you have, like, I just got a security camera in my backyard that looks at my pool. And if you review the footage, overnight, you may see, I think I have 3 or 4 raccoons that swim in my pool every single night. Or, who is telling me? Jim McDonald, the iguanas. We may have, I mean, the iguanas treat your patios like fraternity brothers would. It's an absolute mess. And we've got at least one rogue, what is it, kind of fox or a bear or something out there with an appetite? A coyote. I don't know what it was. It's a weird appetite for a dog. A mini. It's also true that most communities would love to have these types of problems. Now, there's some other issues that we probably have to deal with, the most pernicious of which are that they're eroding our zoning control. They're going to take away the ability to charge property taxes. There's likely a hostile takeover of our public school system. And not to mention that nearly 100% of our houses are still on septic systems, which is frankly just gross. We're being preempted with greater frequency each and every year. So once these things happen, and they are underway, it's going to make it a struggle to maintain the essence of this village. Because you can have all the concierge level of services you want. We can answer every telephone call immediately. But if you have no money to fix people's problems and you can't control your own laws, all the satisfaction that I believe that this village feels is difficult to maintain. So we need to keep our eyes on these issues, and if we do keep our eyes on this, we can stay in the enviable position of watching with fascination and amazement as the internet embarrasses itself with hysterical rants denigrating Pinecrest for its handling of peacocks and sidewalks. It's a good place to be. It beats the alternative. I'll take it. So in the end, I just want to thank everybody for being here, because it's your input as citizens and neighbors that enable us to be as successful as we've always been. I think that it was a tenet in the early days, like, we're just neighbors. We're all in this together. We got to take turns and run this community. And really the civil communication that we've had over the years makes it work as well as it has. I also want to take the time to thank Evelyn Greer and the late Gary Matzner for doing what they did. They set the tone. They gave us the blueprint for how to run this community and how the village should work, and we've tried to live up to that each and every year. They had the wisdom, the vision, and the courage to lead our incorporation efforts. I want to thank each of the council people that are here, and Bob and Doug and Anna and Jim. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. All of them that are here, we know how hard this job was. Over the decades, you've given us your time. You've worked hard. Everybody brought a unique perspective on how to do this job and make sure that we made the best decisions possible. And of course, to you guys up here, it's been fascinating to work with you. I love it. It's a lot of fun. I know how difficult it is, how much time it comes in, the criticism that we get sometimes. We all come from different backgrounds, but and I know how much time it takes that we all study the issues so that every decision we make becomes the best solution for everyone. And then finally, to our staff, and I'll start with our charter officials. Mitch Bierman's our attorney with Weiss Serota. I've said it before, but I think these guys are the best law firm in the state of Florida. They do everything. There are no weaknesses. They keep us out of trouble, or as some people will tell me, they get us out of trouble. I want to thank you for that. It makes my life as mayor much easier. Priscilla Torres, our clerk, keeps the wheels of the democratic process flowing, keeps our elections moving, our agendas running, our retention of records going. We got everything we need, and it's pretty darn simple. Nobody can hear the council meetings, but that's okay. We'll get to that later. And to our manager, Yosin Galliano, she ensures this village functions day to day and it runs smoothly. She's brilliant. She's visionary, calm, firm, fair. Sometimes calm's good. Yossi and I have worked together for about 30 years. When I was doing the comp plan, I think we were like 18 or something, and we were here. And she brings a tremendous amount of institutional knowledge that is extremely valuable to the community. And finally, all the department heads and staff. You all are the men and women on the front lines every day that provide the highest level of service that anybody could possibly deliver. And I work for a lot of governments in my real job, and this isn't like most places that will provide the lowest quality of service that the public can tolerate. It's exactly the opposite. We call it a concierge level of service, and the philosophy is we're running a small government. We don't have deep staff. We've got excellent staff. We need to be able to respond immediately, protect our neighbors, and add value with the services that we provide. And so I've been saying that for years, but this year Yossi gave me a book that I perused, and I want to read you a section of that book. It's called How to Build or Remodel a Home Without Getting Miami Blanked, and it's by a guy named Samuel Canado, right? And this is kind of an industry insider self-help book for homeowners that are trying to navigate this notoriously treacherous process. So you figure we're going to get skewered in this book, right? So in the book, he starts off, just remember that if you want to build a house in Miami, you're going to tango with the city, and it's not a graceful dance. However, if you stay persistent, keep your GC in check, and maintain a sense of humor, you'll eventually make it to the end. So he gets through the book, and he's about to close it out, and he says, now I'd like to say something important, especially if you're building in the village of Pinecrest. And then you say, oh gosh, here we go. Yes, the process can feel maddening, but here's the truth. The Pinecrest Building and Planning Department does a good job, a very good job. Their standards are high, their approach is thorough, and it is essential that they keep the general contractors and subcontractors in check in ways you, as a homeowner, simply can't. They're not just throwing red tags for fun, they're protecting your investment, your safety, and your future sanity. If they seem a little bureaucratic, it's because they are, because that's what we're supposed to be. But they know what they're doing, and they're doing it for the right reasons. They've seen what can go wrong when corners are cut, and they're here to make sure your project doesn't become another cautionary tale. And here's the pleasant surprise. They treat owners with genuine courtesy and respect. You'll get more explanation, more patience, which in this world is like finding a unicorn in a hard hat. And that is one of the greatest compliments I think that a public servant could ever get. It doesn't stop there. I got an email last week from Rob in the Parks Department, and this email says, Parks and Rec continues to set the standard for excellence. I want to thank Mo and Tony for their unwavering support, their professionalism, kindness, and their willingness to go above and beyond makes all the difference in the world. And it doesn't stop there. David in Public Works, right? I met David, and he was the kindest, most sincere man, this email says. I wanted to let you know, I was like, David who, Mendez? No. No, this is an actual email. I want to let you know so you could recognize him as a person who puts residents first. He tackled our issue with extreme professional. He is what makes Pinecrest the special place that it is. And there's dozens of these emails, and I'm not going to read them all, so I'll go. But that's what a concierge level of service is. That's what we aspire to. And that's never going to stop, right? If there's anything that's going to happen, it's never going to stop. We're never going to stop striving to be the best place in Florida. We're never going to stop evolving smartly. We'll never stop trying to preserve that character and quality of life. So I wanted to thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure. I wanted to thank the team. It's an honor to be part of the team, and thank you all. It's an honor to be part of the community. And with that, I don't know who I'm supposed to hand it to, probably Shannon. Somebody's got to tell us where to go next. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming, for caring. Pinecrest is the special place it is because you continue to show up for us. Thank you, thank you. Please enjoy cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, dessert, and please stay a while. Thank you.